back for another video. My name is Josh Kasich, and today this is Solo, a Star Wars story review. Now, usually I do a full breakdown for these movies. I realize that they take too long and take almost an hour or more. So I think I'm going to stop that because obviously you guys probably are not interested in seeing an hour-long video. So I'm going to shorten it, do a quick summary, and not talk about I'll talk about full details later. But it's basically you start off with Han Solo kind of like he kind of fuses with like the speeder, I guess. And then he drives off because he was just in a he was trying to like sell stuff to these people and they were going to give him money, but instead they took the thing he was selling and kept the money, and he almost died. And he was working for this kind of, I don't know, like game, not really a game, but like this organization type thing, and that's really bad. But basically one of the things that he had to sell, was more than one thing, but he took one that's like really valuable. I can't remember exactly what it was. I don't know. It's liquid. I know it's made plot in the movie. Coaxium. Actually, I think it's coaxium, something like that. So then he drives off and finds his girlfriend Kira. But they both get basically Solo gives that coaxium tube thing to Kira. Now Kira is actually played by an actress from the Game of Thrones, the Mother of Dragons. So that's an interesting fact right there. Now then basically goes to this pit organization where you have this like big snake woman creature, and she's basically upset and was going to teach him a lesson for selling, even though it's not really his fault. But then basically then he kind of stands up. The person starts like hitting him, but then Solo stands up and grabs the thing, like doesn't want to be hit anymore. And so one of the goons that did capture him point a gun at him, and then basically Kira jumps away and said, "Don't do this." And then Solo Han brings out a rock, which is but he's pretending it to be a detonator, and like makes the sound, and basically the snake called him out. And so basically not really snake, maybe it's more of like, it's not a snake because it's raw, it's more of a caterpillar kind of creature, I think is the better term for it. So there he throws a rock, blows it out, and then he leaves. With Kira, they drive. It's a huge chase between that goon that tried to shot him, but they were able to get into the airport because they want to escape Corellia, which is the planet they are on right now. Han Solo is from Corellia. They basically bribed the Imperial to get in, but Kira gets captured in the process of Han going through the game. Then she closes it, and then the Imperial, which is a woman, closed the gate and then called it so that they could find Solo. But Solo finds a way out by joining the Empire. He becomes a pilot. The next scene is him fighting a war because he was brash. He was quit out. He was expelled from the pilot school, Imperial pilot school, and now he has to fight on the ground. This is where he meets these bounty hunter smugglers who basically are in the war because they were trying to get something, and they basically took off armor from dead people and pretend to be part of the army, which Solo points out to them, and then basically he wants to join them, but he says no. Okay, and then Solo says, well, then I'll tell the lieutenant who you really are. But the guy who's smart, older, and basically tells him that this guy's a deserter. So Solo gets captured, and he gets said to be eaten by dun, 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 Chewbacca. Yes, this is where he meets Chewbacca, which he rescues by having a plan, by hitting it's kind of a jail cell in the ground. Well, the thing that's holding up the thing, he told Chewbacca to hit it, the thing over and over again until it broke, and then basically Imperial Guards fell, they got out, and those bounty hunters, Hatchet, forgot the girl's name, forgot the monkey-looking creature with many arms name, but yeah, and then so they go on their mission to they finally Han Solo, they were leaving, but Han Solo Chewbacca ran to them trying to get in. And then basically the monkey said, oh, you need the Chewbacca help. Alright, so they're on their mission. They go to where they need. They're camping out. And then then the next day, they're on this train because they're trying to get a load of coaxium. Like I said, it's going to be a big, huge plot point in the movie. And so basically they're training and trying to get this. They have their ship and everything is going as planned. But here comes Emphas Ness. Basically he's going to stop them, and he gets in the way of them, and stuff are all going wrong. And one of Emphas Ness gets on a ship and shoots the monkey creature. Now the monkey creature is the pilot, so the ship is going down. But basically, Solo gets on their fight because he's a good pilot. He keeps saying that throughout the movie. Then they're going on, and the another person's mission, the woman, she was supposed to set up bombs and then get out of there and blow up the bridge. Well, the plan is going wrong, and the train's heading to where the bridge is really fast. And then these Imperial droids are shooting at her. So she says that we have to finish the mission from here. And she presses the button, blows up, she dies. And the monkey guy dies from his wounds. So they both die. Hatchet, they at the last second before they fall the bridge, Chewbacca released the thing and released. But Emphasis has cords connected to the coaxium gate. What's it called? Cart. And basically they were about to hit a mountain, so Solo said, either we die or release this thing, so he releases it, much to Hatch's dismay. And so they basically, that's what happens, and the coaxium is so powerful, it literally blew up the mountain. It brought it down, dang. That is crazy chiz right there. And then after that, we had them kind of you had Hatchet bearing, remember those things, and then he then punches Solo in the because he said, "Well, we work for the I should know these was it the Rising Sun? Was that Rising Sun? I could be wrong about that. Something like that. The Rising Sun, which is a pirate syndicate, one of the pirate syndicates. And he basically there's a person who works for those named Drain. I think his name is Drain Voss. No, I forgot his name. Whatever. Yeah, no, I think it is Drayden. Was it Drayden Voss? I think it's Drayden Voss. I know it was Drayden, at least. But Drayden works for the Rising Sun. And basically, so he basically, now he's going to have our heads. We're going to die because of this. And basically, and then he's telling you, well, we could get out of this. I'll go with you. And I said, no. And basically, he's going to kill us, and then Solo brings up, well, we'll just run, we'll desert like I did with the Imperial. He said, oh, well, the Imperials don't send people out for dessert, unlike Drayden, who actually does. Okay, well, then we'll figure out something. Let's go. And he says, and then Hatchet says, no, if you come with me, that's it. You're in it forever. You cannot get out. And he said, alright, let's do it. Okay. Alright. So they go and meet Drayden, and basically we have, basically when we see Drayden the first time, he's actually played by Bettany, who also is who used to be Jarvis, and is also a.k.a. Vision in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Little known fact right there. Alright, so, sorry about that. I had to go while filming, so I'm back to where we left off, was talking about how Drayden was played by Bettany. So, now, when they got into the yacht of Drayden, basically it's a weird, tall-looking, tower-looking thing that flies, and it landed where they were. They go inside. They had to give up their weapons, and then once they were inside, Hatchet told Solo to stay right there, not to talk to anyone. So he tries to find Drayden, and then we get to see Drayden. Well, there was a line talking about how he's dealing with a governor, I think, or something like that. I don't remember exactly. But basically we see Drayden killing him. Yeah. So then we see Solo walking around, and he looks out a window when someone tapped on his shoulder, and lo and behold, it is Kira right there. Yes, they were surprised. They hugged each other. And stuff. He asked how she got out, and she said just she really did get out, and all that stuff. And then we eventually get to Drayden with Hatchet and all of them, and they're talking and met Kira, and then they talk about how Han and her grew up together on Corellia. Well, that's interesting. He talks about the two, was some weird line about people who aren't very social or don't have a lot of money, as you know what I mean. But basically starts, complaining that he's mad at Hatchet that he lost all this coaxium, and so he tried to find. They were saying, "How are you going to do this?" And he says, "Well, we can find some more." And he said, "Well, gentlemen, that is just hard to find, and so if you guys can't come up with a good deal, then he will kill him." And then he says, then Solo brings up, well, wait, we could get non-refined coaxium. And then Kira took, well, the only place where that really is on the spice mines of Kessel. Hint to the Kessel Run. Now, if you guys are a Star Wars fan, you guys should know what the Kessel Run is. Though, sadly, this kind of moved. I'll get to that later. Now, alright, so he says that, well, guys, then, and then he basically, but, she brings up, well, but it says it's not refined, it will become bad by the time if you can refine it anywhere. Well, he said that basically Hatchet brings up this place that he could do it, but he said that, well, even then you still need a fast ship and a fast pilot. Well, so he says, and then those guards, he keeps coming because he was going to kill them. Well, basically, Solo brings it up and says, well, hey, we just need a fast ship. You already got the best pilot, pointing to himself, obviously. Well, it's just funny, he likes to get, well, fine, let's do this. Kira, you are going with them to make sure it does well. And that's when they go, then they go find, this is when they find Lando. Lando, it's a joint, and basically he challenges him into a sabacc game. And Solo was winning and winning and winning and winning. And then Solo decided to put all his chips and says, I want your ship. And Solo will give up the ship. Well, Lando basically cheated by using a card to get a full sabacc. So there you go, he wins, but Kira talks to him, they get a ship. Now there's an interesting line where basically Hatchet talks to them about saying, you will get 25%. He said 30, they kept going back, those deals of those movies. Well, Lando finally accepts 25%, but basically he also said, oh, you're the guy who killed Aura Singh. Really? They put that, they just throw that into the movie. Really? Aura Singh, I'm sorry guys, but she is a awesome, bounty hunter, a famous bounty hunter, and they just throw her, dead, in one line? I feel like there's a bunch of disrespect. I mean, that's just my opinion, but that's disrespect right there. I'm just saying. I mean, I don't care about villains, but I'm just saying she's supposed to be, this great bounty hunter, and you just throw her out like that? That's, no. Nah. No. Okay? No. But whatever. Then they get, this is where the Millennium Falcon comes in. They get the ship. Now, there's also Lando's droid, who's a female, and basically is a droid activist, basically saying, we want droids to be free. Yeah. Okay, well, I guess it works. I don't know, it's more, she really comes out as annoying, really. But yeah, they fly to Kessel, Lando, and they get there, they have this entire plan to trick. They're going to use Chewbacca and Solo as, prisoners. They were doing, a trade, here you go, you can have these servants, these slaves, while we get your Quaxin. But it's really a trick. Basically, when Chewbacca, Chewbacca, kills the guy, pulls the arms off. It was weird and crazy. So, basically, they get out so they could get in to get the coaxium. And then, basically, everyone else took out everyone else. And then, Solo, basically, they found, while Chewbacca was going there, he found some other Wookiees, and basically, Solo thought this would be the last time he would see him, so he said goodbye to Chewbacca, and then he went to go coaxium, and then, basically, the robot, L3, right? L3 basically starts a rebellion of robots, and it went crazy. Robots started blasting things. It went all crazy and, bad, people are, it went way down. It went down. It went really bad, really fast. Alright, so, basically, Solo gets the Quaxib that he's trying to get out, and then Chewbacca eventually helps him. They're really getting out because a bunch of people are shooting everywhere. It's really like that, and basically, Lando sees it and tries to help out blasting things and stuff, and L3 being this activist is having a lot of fun and starts helping everyone, blasting and stuff, and basically everyone's trying to get into the ship and getting the Quaxium, which Chewbacca did come back to help, like I said, and his friend. Then they also split up because Chewbacca decided to stay with Solo, and then right, so they get on the ship, but in the process, L3 was shot and destroyed, and Lando tries to go and save her, but not all of it, because she literally fell apart. And Lando also got shot in the shoulder in the process. Solo goes and helps him, gets on the ship. They get out there, but Lando's hurt, so he can't ride the ship, so Solo rides the ship. They're the Millennium Falcon. And then they're going off. Then they faced the Empire coming. They said TIE fighters. So, obviously, Solo decided, let's finally do the Kessel Run in under 12 parsecs or something. Yeah. And, or 14, was it, was it 12 or 14? I don't know. I think it's 12. I think it's 12. Alright, so basically he goes in and they finally escape the Empire, but then they released into this creature. They basically power turned down, and then they turn back on and they see this creature with tentacles, electricity. They had to fly away with a bunch of eyes. It is just crazy chiz. Okay, it's crazy chiz, I tell you. Crazy chiz. And then they found, was a big bomb? What do they call it? I don't know. Some weird black hole looking, techno, whatever, chiz, wormhole looking thing. Whatever you want to call it. I forgot what they called it. My bad. But basically they, somehow they tricked the creature getting stuck into that, and you actually see its skin being ripped off. Like, that's more disgusting than looking at the creature. You like to see its insides. Why would we want to see that? I don't want to see that. Thanks a lot, Solo, whoever created that. I did not want to see that. I cannot unsee that now. That was disgusting. But they almost got stuck into there, but basically, they took part of the coaxium and put it into the ship. But it didn't work at first, and they were flying it, and Lando says a swear word, say, oh, we're dead, like, Dad, like, obey, but then, boom! They speed, like, deep, they really went really fast, like, and basically in the beginning where he was, like, going through these tight spaces, he did it again, but this time it actually worked. They got out, they light speed there, and then the next moment we see him landing on the place where the coaxium and stuff are, the refining. Then they refine the coaxium, but then Enfys Nest shows up, but Enfys Nest is actually a girl, and he's telling them, we're not here because we're trying to stop the rising sun. The rising sun destroyed our people, and we are going to fight back. That's the whole point of this. Then basically Solo agrees to help them. Hatchet didn't. Hatchet leaves, assumedly, but I'll tell you why it's just assumedly, what that means later on. Alright, so they come up with this plan. Alright, Kira helps them. They go into the ship and stuff and meet Drayden. Drayden, basically asks where's Hatchet. He says Hatchet died. Oh, and he's talking about, well, he was a good smuggler, or whatever you want to call it. It's smart. I forgot what he actually said, but basically then he puts it there, has everything. They ask Kira to sit with him, and Jay says, Solo, please open it up. And he said, you want me to open this? Yes, Han. Yes, I do. Okay. Then he opens it up and says, here. And then he says, I want to show. Are you sure? And he says, I never asked anything twice. So he walks up and gives him the coaxium thing in the bottles and stuff. And he said, wow, this really looks good. It looks almost like the real one. I said, well, it is the real one. And I said, I don't know. My person that I've been talking to tells different. And he said, in fact, he calls the person in, and it turns out it to be Hatchet. Hatchet comes in, and he says, basically, sorry, I told you not to trust anyone, and stuff like that, so he did trust him, and stuff went wrong. Then he, basically it was, then the plan came in, and bunch of Drayden Voss's stuff, army people came in to stop Enfys Nest. And they did, and opened that the thing was empty. And he said, this thing is empty, but basically Solo actually did have the real coaxium, and then basically the Enfys Nest and all of her people, or these are not Enfys Nest and that, they were actually disguised people from this planet that they're on that does the refining of coaxium, and basically the real Enfys Nest and all of them jumped out and took out all the guards. It was the entire planet, and then Voss, basically was alone except for his 2 guards, and basically Hatchet shot his 2 guards to take the coaxium and left because he was the only one with guns. And then we have this ultimate battle left between Kira and Solo, where Kira ends up killing Drayden. Then they basically, Solo was supposed to leave with her, but Kira has other plans as she stayed there. And Solo left. And then we see Kira turn on, basically go take the ring from Drayden, put it in the computer, and dun dun dun, we see Darth Maul. Basically, awesome scene. Tell you right now, that was cool. And which is even interesting, they made his although it doesn't really make sense, they made his presence more crazy. He just used the Force to bring his lightsaber, and he just activates it for like no apparent reason. He just did that just to seem, like he wanted to intimidate, basically. And he basically tells Kira, "Please come. We're going to be working a lot closer now." Because but she told Drayden that he died, and that basically talk about how Hatchet basically killed them and took everything. Then Darth Maul says, "Well, we will destroy Hatchet and his helpers." So, and then they end that scene there, and then we go to Solo confronting Hatchet. They talk, and then basically, Hatchet was about to pull his gun when Solo shot him. And basically, Hatchet dies there, but they talk about, wow, kid, that was a smart move there. I was going to kill you. It's basically, and then in the scene, we also see Kira, driving away on the yacht and stuff, and then basically, Hatchet dies, and then Chewbacca sticks with him, and then they go and find Lando, which I actually forgot to say Lando left when Enfys Nest showed up. Oh, and another thing I forgot to mention, basically, the Millennium Falcon, when they first were going to go on it, was stuck, the ground. It was they, I don't know what they're called, but they locked the ship into place so it doesn't move. Basically, Hatchet knew how to get those off, but took 5% off of Lando's commission of what he gets for the mission, and he basically, I don't like it, but I accept it, because he's supposed to be a businessman, but also funny. I don't know, it's kind of weird. So he basically, that's what happens, and they basically find Lando, and this time, basically, they hug each other. Basically, Han Solo sees the card in Lando's sleeves. They hug. That's when he steals it. They play for the Millennium Falcon. He wins because he had because Solo took the card from Lando. He didn't use it. He just took it and then showed it to him, and he won the Millennium Falcon. And they flew off. The end. There we go. Yeah, I know, that's pretty much the end of the movie. I said I was going to do a full breakdown, but I did a really fast breakdown, so hopefully it's a little shorter. I don't know. Next time, I don't think I'm going to do this. I think this will be the last one for a full breakdown. So, for starters, what I didn't really like, the beginning was a little darkish, the lighting was bad. I don't like the whole Chewbacca and Han Solo. I think I like the original Legends better, where basically he was Han Solo actually rescues Chewbacca from being tortured and stuff in a certain way. he does rescue Chewbacca, but it's not really the same thing, and we're really missing that life debt thing. I don't think it's still kind of a life debt, and so it's a little that's a little problem I have. Another thing I forgot to mention is talking about how we made it 12 parsecs and then Solo kind of rounded it down, and I'm like, no, dude, come on. Really? You had to round it down? Like, you had to have that line? Like, come on. I mean, you're kind of ruining what the original idea of that was. That's my grip of that. But nice Kessel Run. Did not want to see that creature be pulled out, so that's my one complaint. I did not want to see that. Whatever. But what else? I don't think I have much problem. I feel like if they were, I wish it didn't do so bad. There could be more movies. Other than that, like, because I feel like the relationship with Kira and him are really dumb, but a lot of people, well, she just left him, so I think he's just assumed, because, I mean, I understand, because eventually he ends up with Leia, obviously, but, that's one side I would like to, figure out, but, I don't know, like, he's not necessarily, like, the Han Solo we knew, but, like, he was definitely, the actor who played him did a really good job. I know a lot of people didn't like that they kind of played him as a hero character, although, if you think about it, I think he always had that, yet he still was the Han Solo, because I think Han Solo always had that good side to him, he just preferred to ignore it. And I think that's one of the reasons why he stayed. He kept staying because that's how it's how they end up. Like, I think, yeah, he done bad things. He smuggles. He does that stuff, and he did do that. And don't forget, this is a young Han Solo, and he just witnesses a few things in the job he's kind of going for. And no, he's going with Jabba. He's going to witness more stuff, more torture, more things. And eventually I think that would refine him into what Han Solo was in the movies. And anyway, but Han Solo always had that good side to him. Even if he tried to hide it, I think a lot of people don't seem to understand that, but I always see it as that. So that's my own opinion, but you guys can have your own. And overall, I really enjoyed the movie. The characters and all of them were really good. It was engaging. It was fun, and that's what it was. It was supposed to be fun, and I don't know why it did so bad. It should have done really well. It's the problem is people just want to put their hate on things that don't need to be hated, just because they want to get their way that they will never get. So their way is not going to win. I mean, like, yeah, I know Solo lost, but you might find that as a victory, but it's not necessarily a victory in that case, because Disney's still doing what they're doing, and you need to really stop. Like, it's annoying for Star Wars fans who actually are enjoying what Disney's doing. It's I wouldn't say I'd enjoy everything Disney's doing, but overall Disney's been somewhat taking care of it. Like, I know a lot, definitely other Star Wars things were really good, and the books so far have been really interesting, so I just, it shouldn't have done as bad as it did. It has nothing to do with the movie. It didn't fail because of it being a movie. It failed because of people being dumb and stupid. But other than that, I really enjoyed the film, and I hope you guys enjoyed this review and breakdown. Please leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and hit the notification bell so you could be notified for my next upload. My Weebly website, my YouTube channel website, is down in the description as always. And thank you. Goodbye.